What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another player rating show for you guys. My brother isn't available today for the stream, so we have Brian Daigle in the house to go through the player ratings for our epic 4-3 victory against Leeds United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. And without further ado, let's get into it. And for starters, we've got Hugo Lloris. I gave Hugo Lloris a 5. Brian Daigle gives Hugo Lloris a 6. Brian giving him higher than me. I thought Hugo could have done better with the second goal for sure. He got a big hand to that. Although it was a decent volley from Rodrigo, he should be doing better. First goal was beating a bit at his near post as well from Somerville, I felt. So could have definitely done a bit better with that goal. He'll be a bit disappointed, although I wouldn't say it was a mistake. Third goal, I think, is a fine finish. I don't think he can do much with that. And then obviously his distribution was a bit iffy. But he did make a crucial save from Somerville in the first half as well to stop it being 2-0 at the time, which would have been a very detrimental goal at the time. So that's why I gave him a 5.
Yeah, I mean, looking at what you just said, I think I need to knock mine down 1. I actually do, because I can't believe I've gone for a... I've been slating him, and I think he was at fault for the first goal. I think he was at fault for Dier was mainly at fault for the second goal, but his distribution, yeah, I'm knocking him down to a 5 and pretty much agreeing with everything you just said.
Well, there you go. Lloris with 5s then. Emerson Royal, we gave him 3. Both of them gave him 3. Really poor display from Emerson. I felt like at times he was a parody of himself throughout that game. Obviously, the open goal miss from 12 yards was classic Emerson, getting in a good position and doing absolutely nothing. There was a crossfield pass from the halfway line, which really put us in trouble, suicidal as well. And then you look at his defending. The first goal, I thought he was terrible for that goal. Really should have covered around Somerville and made sure he didn't get in behind, and Dier was going mad at him for it. And I thought he was rightfully taken off on the hour mark for Matt Doherty, although I didn't like the ironic jeers taking him off, even though he had a poor display. I do think he's trying. I just don't think he's good enough.
Yeah, I'm giving him a generous 3. It's really generous. Like I said, yesterday I kind of saw it a different way when I got sat back and watched it myself. Like when I watched it yesterday, he was just awful and shocking and all those kind of words you don't want to associate with a player's performance. That pass just sums up his Spurs career, doesn't it? I think it was worse than the no-look pass. I think it was worse than the volley outside of the stadium at Bournemouth. And he's
been doing some ridiculous things recently.
But forget the Matt Le Tissier Goals of the Month competitions he had himself. I think
Howlers of the Month.
Yeah, Howlers of the Month for Emerson. I think that should be a new thing you do. But yeah,
you should stick that in a compilation.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you and Ben say I give him a strong 5, a strong 7 or whatever, I want to give him a weak 3.
Week 3. There you go. That sums up Emerson Royal for you. Next up, Eric Dier. I gave him a 4. Brian gave him a 3. First goal, I thought he was caught napping and allowed somebody else to get in behind, and was well beaten for that. Wasn't great for that goal. Could have blocked the shot as well and wasn't able to. There was obviously that horrendous moment where he lobs a ball back to Lloris from the edge of his own box. You're like, what is he doing? And Lloris has to head it away to prevent it being another absolute howler. The second goal as well, I thought he was a bit culpable. Wasn't brilliant for that either, although I wouldn't say it was necessarily a massive mistake. I think he could have been I think he played Rodrigo onside, didn't he? Which was pretty poor. In general, I thought his passing was okay. I thought he looked a bit better when he moved back into the central of the centre-back roles. I thought he was continually being caught out when he was in the wide centre-back role, although he did get forward decently when he was in that role. But another carries on his poor form, really, Eric Dier, for me.
Yep, I'm with you. I mean, I was saying at the watch along, and he had plenty of opportunities to try and make a slide-in tackle to stop the first one. We were there talking about Bentancur in the show just before, talking about the art of the slide-in tackle and how well he does it. He had so many opportunities to try and block it. I actually said in the watch-along, be like Michael Dawson and put your body on the line, and he just did it. And he played, like I said, Rodrigo onside for the second goal, and it's just another poor performance. And since he's got that England call-up, it's just mistake after mistake after mistake, and it was another diabolical performance.
Yeah, agreed. Next up, Clement Lenglet. I gave him a 6. Brian gave him a 5. I thought defensively wasn't particularly great. I thought his passing was actually really good on the day. By and large, I thought his long-range passing put us in a number of good situations. And once he moved, I think he got taken off on the hour mark. I think he was struggling with an injury. He seemed to be limping off at the end. At the end of the game, he obviously went off for Sanchez. But defensively wasn't particularly good. But I thought on the ball, his passing was decent. So I gave him a 6.
Yeah, I gave him a 5 because I'm just struggling to remember anything he did. I really am. But if I can't remember it, it's easy to give them the 5, give them the halfway mark. I think he is the most comfortable, like you said, with the passing on the ball, even ahead of Dier. And I believe he's got a lot more to give, but I can't remember a lot of him this game, so that's why I'm going to 5.
All right, next up, Ben Davies played the left centre-back role. I gave him a 7. Brian gave him a 6. Obviously, he scored the goal to equalise at 2-2 with a really good pile driver at the end. I actually thought he got forward well during the game. He was set up a really good chance for Emerson Royal in the first half with some really slick football, and in which he was very much involved in. And I thought he was doing some really good stuff going forward. Defensively, I think by and large, the problems weren't really coming down his side. So I thought he did a good job. So I think he was our best defender on the day.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. The reason I gave him the 6 was for that goal. Like I said, it was a great strike, but obviously he's had a couple of ricochets like a pinball off the goalie and Leeds defender before it went in. He does what he does in defence. You know what you're going to get with Ben Davies, don't you? He is the one that goes forward a lot more, and it looked like it was coming down that left side with Richarlison. He seems to have a good understanding with Richarlison as well. But yeah, I'm just giving him above a 5 because defence again, it's another 3 goals conceded, whatever way you want to look at it. But he got the goal, so that's why I gave him that grade.
Fair enough. Next up, Ivan Perisic. I give him a 6. Brian gives him a 5. I thought his set pieces were pretty dangerous, as they usually have been. I think his crossing from those situations are pretty good. But I didn't think in normal play he swung in some crosses without really hurting the opposition, and I felt like he was a bit on the periphery for a lot of the game. And in the end, a lot of the good work came down our right side, not our left, in when the goals were coming. So not his best game, Perisic, but again, good set pieces.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's all he's delivering at the moment, isn't it? We didn't score from any of them, which would have made
first goal.
Oh yeah, God, duh. My bad, my total bad. But yeah, that's the thing with him. I can't remember him doing anything. When we signed him, I was like, that's the standout player. That's the marquee signing. I really had such great belief that he was going to be just an incredible acquisition for us.
7 assists before.
But I'm talking about this game. Like Bob Spurs said after the Arsenal game, he asked the question, before, has Perisic been underwhelming? And before the Arsenal game, I was like, absolutely not. And since then, I've kind of seen it, and I am underwhelmed by him. Yes, his set pieces are great, but we need more from him. So yeah, that's why.
I think he's pretty good for a free transfer. A 33-year-old of 7 assists. I think he's by and large been a positive for the team, in my opinion. But fair enough. Maybe it depends on what you expected, I guess.
Yeah.
Next up, Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. I gave him a 5. Brian gave him a 6. I thought it was one of his poorer displays, to be honest. He looked completely dead on his feet, and he got beaten badly by Aronson for the first goal. Got really badly turned. I thought later in the second half as well, he looked so tired. He was doing some really weird, unlike Hojbjerg passing. Especially there was one where he fires it back to Lloris from inside the opposition's half. He tries to get it back to Lloris, and he completely got it wrong. And Lloris was forced to put out for a throw after a really poor pass. And he looked like he was going to be taken off because he looked knackered. He decided to keep him on. And to be fair, once Bissouma came on, he added that second wave of energy for Hojbjerg, and he was okay. But I thought by and large it was a disappointing display from him.
It was a poor performance by his standards, especially the ones that he set this season. Maybe I've given him that extra point because he's my favourite player. And there's a bit of
bias.
Maybe there is a bit of Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg bias in my upgrading him to a 6. But he's been this game. Yeah, he didn't seem to be having his best game. He definitely was at fault for the first goal as well, as much as Dier was for giving the ball away. But he does still add that little bit of steel, and you know what you're going to get with him. But like I said, it wasn't one of his best games, and that's why I've, with a tinge of recency, favourite player bias, he's getting a 6.
All right, next up, Rodrigo Bentancur, the match winner. We both give him 8s, and what a brilliant display it was from him. And I thought, again, he's really adding that authority to his game. And I think yesterday, I actually, to be fair, I thought for the first hour or so, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it wasn't one of his best displays. I thought he would also looked a bit tired. He didn't have the same energy. But then obviously he had that moment where he nutmegged one of the Leeds players and lost the ball in the centre of the park, and that led to Leeds getting the third goal, which looked like it was going to make Tottenham lose, but he found a second wind of energy. He got 2 late goals and really started to force the issue. I think 2 decent finishes. I think the first goal, to be fair, I think is going in without the deflection, but it deflects in. And the second goal, he's there ready and waiting to tap home. And I thought he ended the game really strongly. And I thought for the first half, he played pretty well as well in terms of getting the ball on the ground and playing some nice football. So really good display again from Bentancur, and that's now 7 goals and assists for him this season. So really good going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would have been a 9 if it wasn't for the giving the ball away that would have led to Leeds' third. He was just out second half, or the late part of the second half. He was simply outstanding. Right place, right time. He's the one that's grabbing the games by the scruff of the neck and leading the team forward. And he has just come into form bang in time for the World Cup. He was superb against, like I said, what's that, 7 contributions you said now?
Yeah.
And that's been in these last few weeks, hasn't it? They've all come in this kind of streaks. So yeah, for me it would have been a 9, but for giving that ball away for the lead up to the third goal. But an outstanding performance and my man of the match.
Yeah, fantastic. Next up, Richarlison. Both gave Richarlison a 6 in this game. Started on his more favoured left-hand side position, so a bit more expected of him because he's been playing a lot on the right. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but didn't impact maybe the game I would have liked. Had one chance in the first half, which he squeezed a ball past the keeper, but didn't have the power on the shot to get over the line. He played a really nice pass in behind for Kulusevski in the second half with the outside of his boot, which set up a really good chance for Kulusevski, which he miscued. Other than that, didn't have any shots on goal really to hurt the opposition, and was a bit on the periphery. Wasn't at his sharpest, so definitely wasn't one of his better displays from Richarlison, but wasn't awful either.
No, what I will say is that during that first half, with some of that lovely attacking one-touch passing, he was at the centre of it. Some of the problems he's had recently that we've all commented on his first touch, that looked a little bit better. And what he did do during that first half is, as we know what Richarlison does, he does chase those balls down. He does give his all. He tired near the end, and that's to be understandable. Obviously, it's his first start since coming back from the injury. But what he was doing in the first half, I still want him to get this Premiership goal. So the drought's over, because he still hasn't found the back of the net in the Premier League. And I expect better from him when we come back. But yeah, for me, a 6 this game.
All right, next up, Harry Kane, 7s all round. He scored his 12th goal of the season, which is pretty impressive considering we're only 15 games in. So 12 goals in the first 15 games. I don't think he's ever started a season so well, goal scoring wise. But really nice finish for the goal. Brilliant touch. And to have the presence of mind to have that take that touch inside Tyler Adams and fire into the net was very impressive. Other than that, he was a bit on the periphery, although I thought his link-up play was very strong. He was very much involved in the fourth goal, which he played a really nice ball in behind to Kulusevski, and I did think a lot of his better work came from him dropping deep and playmaking a bit and playing the balls out wide. But in terms of him goal scoring, he did get the goal but didn't have too many other chances to get on the score sheet. But I thought in general play he was pretty good.
For me, it would have been a 6, but the 2 things that he did incredible, they were of real quality. The way he took that goal and is one closer now to Jimmy Greaves was brilliant at a time it was needed. And I think that weight of pass and that reverse pass to send Kulusevski on his way. Everyone's talking so much about Kulusevski, about what he did, rightly so, but that doesn't happen without that incredible vision from Harry Kane and passing that ball through with an incredible reverse pass. So yes, I agree with you on the 7s, but that pass for me is not getting as much attention or credit as it deserves.
Was a brilliant pass. Next up, Dejan Kulusevski. We both give him 8s, and it was a brilliant return to the starting 11 for Dejan Kulusevski. Obviously got the assist that won the game with a brilliant touch inside Robin Koch, and laid on for Bentancur to stick in the back of the net. And I thought that was a fantastic assist from him. But that was not all he was doing throughout the game. I thought he was carrying the ball into the penalty area, even in the first half, many times, and giving their fullback all kind of problems throughout that whole first half, and were unfortunate not to take advantage of it. He will set up Kulusevski with a good chance. He set up Emerson with a good chance with a pullback in the first half. In the second half, he was involved in the second goal with a good pullback to Kane, who shot was hit off the line for falling to Davies to score. Obviously got the assist, and he was a menace throughout, although it was a bit quiet in between the equaliser and us getting the fourth goal. I thought he was exceptional throughout the game. Apart from that,
yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll add on to what you just said is, like I said, when he went a bit quiet, he is like, when you look at it, like a David a Rafa van der Vaart, one of those playmakers that he can go quiet for a bit, but then when you need him, bang, switch it on, and that's what he does. You know, I mean, what he offers us, he's one of those players that he doesn't need to be in the game the whole 90 minutes. It's when he gets that opportunity, does he take it? Does he create? Do we score? And he showed it in the second half, didn't he?
And it's that decision-making in the final third that really sets him apart. When he gets in those positions, he more often than not has the presence of mind to pick out a player, make sure he makes the right pass at the right time with the right weight of pass as well. And that shows with the 5th assist of the season, I think in 9 starts, is pretty good going.
Incredible. You got to remember, he started. Do you remember? I think since January he was a top assist player in the Premier League.
Yeah,
since he came,
I don't think many players have more. Yeah,
he set the same standards. He's just a joy to watch, and I can't wait to see him develop.
Agreed. Next up, we move to the substitutes, and these came on the hour mark. Bissouma is the first one. I gave him a 7. Brian gives him a 6. I thought he really positively impacted the game, gave us a bit more energy and a bit more legs in the central midfield where we were severely lacking. It's no surprise we saw more of Bentancur and Hojbjerg in the attacking situations once Bissouma got on, and as well he bought the free kick which sent off Tyler Adams in the second half as well later in the game. So good cameo from Bissouma, and very much needed energy.
Yeah, he's grown his stature. He doesn't seem to be able to do it for 90 minutes, does he? If he starts like at Forest, he was blinding in the first half, and then he got weaker in the second half. Once he's come off the bench on these home games, he is definitely having an impact. And you can see, like you said, it gives Bentancur and Hojbjerg that licence to kind of go forward and be more important in the final third. And he did it again. And do you know what I'm looking forward to? Conte having a whole month with him now. And really working on him. Because obviously he had COVID when he came, it started. I think now, having this time with him, we will see the real Bissouma come January.
All right. Next up, we have Davinson Sanchez, and I gave him a 7. Brian gives him a 5. Bit of a difference in the scorelines there. Whisper it quietly, but I thought Sanchez actually had a pretty good cameo when he came on, despite all the negative attention he usually gets. But I thought when he came on, he was actually playing some pretty good progressive passes, and he was involved in the 4th goal, playing a really good pass into Kane, who played it in behind to Kulusevski, which obviously led to the goal. I thought he was actually pressing really hard up the pitch and making some good tackles in the attacking third to allow Tottenham to sustain some pressure. Defensively, obviously he got caught out a bit for the 3rd goal that we conceded. However, I do put the blame a bit more on Bentancur because he conceded the ball in a pretty poor position. But you could say Sanchez could have done better. But I actually thought he provided a good energy for the team and allowed us to sustain a bit more pressure. So actually a pretty good substitute appearance from Sanchez for me.
So I agree with you with the stuff going forward, like you said earlier, about his pace and being able to get up and down a lot easier than who did he come on for?
For Lenglet,
thank you. Sorry. So yeah, that part I take into account. But what I've deducted him for is, first of all, to the 2 things that have done it. 1 point I took away for, like you said, yes, Bentancur lost the ball, but he's still got a long way to go before it's a goal. And Sanchez should have done better as a defender to close it down, or at least put him off. And then I also marked him down because I think within the first 5 minutes, he gave away a really pointless free kick right outside the edge of the area. That could have been very, very vital. Obviously, it wasn't, but these are kind of the errors that he's used to making. And as a defender, that's what I'm going to mark him down for. So I think offensively, you're right. but he came on for defensive options as well, and he fouled on 2 attempts there.
All right. Next up, Matt Doherty, who also came on the hour mark. I gave him a 6. Brian gives him a 5. I thought he definitely provided better options than Emerson on that right-hand side. He was a bit better when it comes to his little short passing and building up play. Obviously, his cross, dangerous cross from him, which led to the 3rd equaliser from Bentancur after it was cleared away. And I thought he added a bit more quality on the right-hand side without really setting up too many chances, but he was definitely more of a threat and was better than Emerson.
Yeah, that's why he's getting a 5 from me. He was better than Emerson, who got a 3. He's getting a 5. I really, again, I can't recall, like I said, with the 3rd goal, yes. The one thing, like we said, he definitely has been able to establish partnerships with the person playing in front of him a lot easier than Emerson has. And for that, I give him credit. But yeah, for me, still a 5.
All right, and last but not least, Antonio Conte. I gave him an 8. Brian gives him a 7. For me, I thought we played some good football at times yesterday, which was impressive to watch, although at the back we were struggling, and I think the defensive quality has a lot to do with that. And I feel for him at times with how he's trying to play and with dealing with a lot of these defenders, but a lot of it was down to the quality rather than how we were set up, because I thought we were set up fairly well, especially going forward. We were doing some good stuff, and I think when we did encounter, obviously we came back twice before the substitutions, and I think to be fair to him, he did well to change the game when needed be, added the energy where we needed, didn't make the subs a lot of the fans maybe would have, but they definitely impacted the game really positively. And I have to say fair play to him to making those subs, and it changed the game, and I think a lot of it we did end up winning the game because of those substitutions. So you got to give him credit where credit's due. So fair play to Antonio Conte. Thought managed the game well, and we go into the international break in 4th place and in good going. So fair play to Conte for me.
Yeah, I mean, everything you just said, I completely agree with. I think the reason I've marked him down 1 is just, again, the bad first half performance. Again, having to wait till we go down before we win. The substitutions came on, right substitutions, yes. Win the game, yes. It's just been this season or this season the way that we've been playing and the manner of the performances where I've just marked him down 1. I'll give him a strong 7 as opposed to your 8.
A strong 7. All right, fair enough. Well, that is your player ratings for the 4-3 win against Leeds. Let us know your ratings in the comment section below and what you think of them. Thank you all for joining us. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.